You want to know what it's really like to work remotely in Portugal? Well, the truth just might surprise you. Hi, I'm Rory.verrett. Welcome to Protégé Leadership Academy. I've been an executive coach, executive recruiter, and mentor for 30 years, and I get my clients to apply career advice that works. If you're considering working remotely and want to know what it's like to live and work in Portugal, then you're in the right place. Today, I'm breaking down the 10 most important factors you need to know about working remotely in Portugal. And trust me, you'll want to stick around till the end of this episode to hear a bonus segment for all of you traveling to Portugal. Working remotely for a lot of professionals is a wonderful thing. Working remotely from a country like Portugal with its abundant sunshine, friendly locals, wonderful beaches, vineyards, exciting nightlife, and its overall chilled out vibe, well, that's been for me a very interesting experiment. Has it been perfect? I'll let you decide after hearing this list whether it might be the perfect place for you as a remote working destination. All right, number one, first up, you gotta bring your job with you. The average salary in Portugal is around $15,000 a year. While there are a handful of expats who got jobs here in Lisbon, the overwhelming majority of us are either startup entrepreneurs, small business owners, retirees, or we're remote working professionals like me. So if you're thinking about moving to Portugal, make sure to plan ahead. This isn't a country where you can just show up and find a job. I would give yourself 1 to 2 years to get your work situation set up, get your budget ready for the unpredictability of moving and living abroad, and managing the other big factor, which is our number 2 issue, getting your visa. Number 2, so let's talk about getting your visa. This takes some serious intentionality and preparation. For example, when my family applied for our D7 visas, we had to show we could support ourselves with at least $38,000 through income and investments. That money needs to be consistent for a few months. We also had to gather a bunch of documents, everything from marriage certificates to bank statements to a police background check and everything in between. It is a process for sure. Portugal has a major immigration backlog right now, so expect to wait at least 6 months for your visas to process. You have to manage your visa on the US side and the Portugal side. We had an attorney who also acted as a translator during our appointment with the immigration service in Lisbon. We applied in DC in April and we got our visas around September of the same year. This allows us unfettered access to travel around the Schengen area in Europe as opposed to having a 90-day in and out limitation traveling around Europe. Let me say again how important it is to get all of your documentation together and then prepare to wait. This is, in my opinion, one of the biggest drawbacks to living in Portugal: bureaucracy. Everything takes longer than you expect. Number 3, now back to the fun stuff. Let's talk about my workday routine here. I work from 2 to 11 p.m. managing client calls and interviews on East Coast time. I start my day around 10 a.m., which is 5 a.m. in the US. That means I have a good chunk of my day ahead of me, perfect for grabbing coffee at a cafe or going for a bike ride or having lunch with my wife. When I do start working, I'm on calls till about 11 p.m., which is 6 p.m. East Coast time. That may seem like a strange schedule, but here's the thing. I get to enjoy my whole day before work. Back in the US, I'd only have a few hours to myself in the evening, but here I can hit the gym, walk along the waterfront, meet visiting travelers, and still get my work done. It's a nice balance and works perfectly for a night owl like me. The 4th thing to consider is what I call the magic of regular moments. Honestly, the regular moments like meeting a friend for lunch, working at a seaside cafe, walking along the beach, or just enjoying the amazing views from Lisbon, they're all pretty amazing here. This week, I rode my bike 25 minutes to a cafe by the water, took some work calls, had lunch, and it cost me $7. Here, I'm getting a workout, I'm working for a couple of hours, and I still have time for a fairly leisurely afternoon. It's not just the time though, it's the friendliness and hospitality of the Portuguese people, the ease and simplicity of life, and the raw beauty I'm surrounded by every day. It seems like the Portuguese live by the values of faith, family, festivals, and fun, the 4 Fs. And those, well, they're all right by me. Number 5, another one of the great things about working remotely in Portugal is that it's the perfect base for exploring Europe. Since moving here, I've visited France 5 times, the UK 3 times, and Spain twice. This past summer, as our family vacation, we took a road trip through Europe. I bought a car in the Netherlands, and instead of having it shipped, we decided to drive it back to Lisbon. We spent 4 days in Amsterdam, a partial day in Brussels, 2 days in Paris, 3 days in the Loire Valley, 4 days in Bordeaux, 3 days in San Sebastian, Spain, and 2 days in Salamanca, Spain, before heading back to Lisbon. We had an amazing 2-week vacation, and this cost us $5,000, including all the travel, hotels, food, and a whole lot of wine. The ability to explore Europe so easily from Portugal is such a huge perk of working remotely in Lisbon. Number 6, another awesome part about living here is the community. I have a group of around 50 people I hang out with on a consistent basis. 50! There's always something to do, whether it's house parties, day trips, or just catching up at a jazz club. Portugal and Lisbon have a thriving expat community and a vibrant and welcoming local community. Everyone's so relaxed and friendly, it really makes life here extra special. I gotta say, I didn't have such a robust social calendar when I lived full-time in DC. I used to tell my friends, for me to hang out on a Saturday night in DC, I'm gonna need 10 alphas at a cigar bar on a rooftop with the NBA Finals playing, free lemon pepper wings, and free parking. But here in Lisbon, I'm hanging out 2 or 3 nights a week. I can barely keep up with my social calendar. It feels like a remix of my late 20s when I was just out of law school. And number 7, speaking of special, one thing that's been amazing is having the time and space to live your best life. I've always had a passion for acting. In high school, I won the state championship in drama and won the best dramatic duo acting at nationals. But here I am at 52 and I'm acting in Shakespeare in the Park.
I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water whose enmity he flung aside and breasted the surge most swollen that met him.
Fun fact, there is a direct relationship between how much you overact and how few lines you have as an actor. And I can tell you, as someone with only 14 lines in The Tempest, I made sure everyone within a mile heard my overacting character, Lord Francisco. I'm also the founder of a wine club here in Lisbon, and we meet up to visit vineyards, wine bars, and have wine tastings. It's incredible that I have the time and energy to dive into hobbies and passions I'd never have the time to do back in the States. That's one of the gifts of living in Portugal, the space to be your full self. Number 8, let's talk about affordability, another huge factor. I'll tell you a quick story. My friends used to tease me that I was always hanging out at their parties, but we never hosted a party of our own. So I decided I'm gonna host this night of entertainment for my friends. Now, mind you, we had not even opened up all the boxes in our new condo. So I took 12 people out for craft cocktails, then paid for dinner with an appetizer and entree, including a bottle of wine at each table. Then we had a champagne toast in our house, and then we took Ubers to see this amazing and acclaimed jazz artist at an amphitheater. I mean, these were sit-down wooden seats in a beautiful amphitheater. The entire night, everything cost $650. I can only imagine what that would have cost in the United States. I'm gonna guess $2,000 or more. This is the case with a lot of entertainment options, whether it's going to a speakeasy, a high-end restaurant, or taking a sailing trip. I can be a member at a high-end private golf club on the ocean front with a course approaching Torrey Pines in terms of quality, and it costs me less than $4,000 a year. The quality of life you can have in Portugal for the price is unbelievable. And look, I know that can be controversial and seem like it's a statement of privilege to highlight this, but it's a fact. For someone working in the US, the UK, Switzerland, Germany, or another wealthy country, there is a much lower cost of living and a higher quality of life here in Portugal. Another wonderful factor about working remotely in Portugal is safety. Portugal is one of the safest countries in the world, typically hovering between being the 3rd safest and the 6th safest in international rankings. What that means is my daughter can walk home from school at night. My wife can walk around with her friends at night, and we can all walk around at night after going to jazz clubs and restaurants without any fear at all of anything happening. In 2.5 years of living and working here, I've never once been afraid or concerned. I've ridden my bike at night. I'm talking 1 o'clock in the morning on a bike under bridges and through dark streets and alleys. It's a big change of pace when you walk behind a group of young women and they don't turn around to check on you, or when women don't clutch their purses when they're around you. There is a deep sense of psychological liberation about that. I'm not a threat, nor do I feel threatened by police. That's a major shift for me as a black man, walking around a city like Lisbon free, a city that has 3 million people in the metro area, and crime is never on my mind. Number 10, and lastly, living here releases so much psychological baggage. The last benefit of working remotely in Portugal is that when you combine all of this, the ease of living, the safety, the great community, the affordability, it means you're releasing layers of vigilance that you have that you might have been carrying and not know it. We don't have a fear of mass shootings here. We don't have a fear of crime here. Here, I trust strangers. Here, I'm able to be a stranger to people and help them. The Portuguese are so friendly and so open and so warm, and I don't want to be dramatic, but it has restored my faith in humanity. This is a special place with special people, and I'm so glad that we have a chance to experience this wonderful place in the world, and I hope you do too. So, if you're thinking about working remotely and relocating to Portugal, here is my advice. Run, don't walk. You will not be disappointed. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, here's a special bonus for you. These are my top 5 favorite live music and cocktail bars in Lisbon. Please share this video with folks in your network who might be traveling to Lisbon soon. These places are not in the travel books, but trust me, they're nice. Number 1, I gotta start here. Nisa's Lounge. Nisa's is my good friend Ashanti Golson's vibed out jazz club in Algés, a western suburb about 5 miles from Lisbon Center. In just over a year, Nisa's has become the go-to place, not only for the best jazz in Lisbon, but in my opinion, for some of the best jazz acts in all of Europe. Nisa's feels like you're stepping into the jazz club in the movie Love Jones, complete with stylish, down-to-earth fellow guests, exceptional service, and creative cocktails. Come to Nisa's before you head out to dinner and book your seats for their 6:30 or 8 p.m. sets.
I've been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, and I've made some bad rides. I've acted out my life on stages, 10,000 people watching, but we're alone now. I'm singing this song for you.
Number 2, 8 Marvila. 8 Marvila is a multi-use entertainment hub on the east side of Lisbon in the Marvila neighborhood. It's an indoor-outdoor space with a wine bar, wine store, 4 restaurants, some food trucks, a few art galleries, and the best plant store in Lisbon, and a whole lot more. You might stumble upon a wine tasting, a vintage clothing and jewelry market, a live band, or a live DJ at 8 Marvila. It's a great place to roam and chill on the weekends as they're only open Thursday through Sunday. Number 3 on my favorite live music cocktail lounge bar scene in Lisbon is Camões Art Bar. It's a whole vibe on the east side of Lisbon in the hilly and hip Graça neighborhood. I've been to Camões 3 times and I've seen 3 incredible acts. Enjoy one of their amazing pizzas and craft cocktails and lose yourself in the atmosphere of soulful jazz with a very lively crowd. Camões is open until midnight Wednesday through Sunday and until 11 on Tuesdays. Number 4 on my list is Scene Rooftop Bar. Scene is at the top of the Tivoli Hotel on Avenida Liberdade in central Lisbon. And Scene earns its name as the place to see and be seen for a glam night out. Scene has great music, but no live bands. Make sure you dress to impress at this stylish, swanked out rooftop bar and get your phones out for one of the most jaw-dropping views in all of Lisbon. Number 5, 1868 Cocktail Lounge. Last but not least, this is a new place, but one of my favorite areas in Lisbon is Chiado, and 1868 has set up shop there over the last 8 months. It's right around the corner from the Hermes store. Not that I know where that is. Anyway, 1868 is the newest craft cocktail lounge brought to you by the folks that own Red Frog and Monkey Mash. And if you've been there, you know what to expect. Leading edge craft cocktails in an uber elegant venue with a dope soundtrack. 1868 is open until 1 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Okay, so that's my list of my favorite 5 craft cocktail and live music venues in Lisbon. Maybe Scene is in a travel book, but most of these places are relatively new, and there's so many places opening up in Lisbon all the time that it's hard to keep up via a travel book, which is why I wanted to give you this bonus episode and let you know the dope spots to go to. So let me know in the comments if you visited any of these places, or if you are visiting Lisbon, what are some of your favorite spots in Lisbon in terms of craft cocktail bars, restaurants even, or live music venues? Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you for watching the Protégé Leadership Academy. I'll see you next time on our next episode.